impact, more than just a game.
This is the story that nobody else dares to tell. The Denver Nuggets have just made the most shocking move in NBA history. And the true reason behind it is even more explosive than anyone imagined. Just days before the playoffs, head coach Michael Malone and GM Calvin Booth were abruptly fired, not because of losses, not because of locker room squabbles, but because Nikola Jokic himself, the NBA's quietest superstar, finally snapped behind closed doors. Forget what ESPN, Bleacher Report, or anyone else claims, they're tiptoeing around the truth. Sources deep inside the Nuggets organization exclusively revealed that Nikola Jokic reached his breaking point and privately unleashed his frustration on Nuggets ownership. Jokic, yes, the famously humble, quiet Joker, personally demanded immediate action. He didn't just request changes, he insisted that both Malone and Booth had to go immediately if Denver had any chance of salvaging his career in its prime. Jokic's rare display of anger shocked even team owner Josh Kroenke. Kroenke, who usually avoids confrontations, reportedly called an emergency late-night meeting. Tensions boiled over dramatically as Jokic confronted Malone and Booth directly, accusing them of wasting his best years with poor roster management and coaching decisions. One eyewitness described Jokic as furious in a way we've never seen before, adding that the usually calm Serbian superstar had reached his breaking point and felt betrayed by the team he's carried for nearly a decade. This wasn't about losing a single game. This was about systemic incompetence at the highest level. Jokic, who poured his soul onto the court, recently scored an unbelievable career-high 61 points against Minnesota, only to watch Russell Westbrook clumsily foul a three-point shooter with 1 second left, handing the Nuggets yet another gut-wrenching defeat. According to insiders, Jokic privately exploded after this loss, screaming at team management that he'd had enough of playing hero ball while the entire organization stood by doing nothing. But how did things get so dire behind the scenes? The rift between Coach Malone and GM Calvin Booth had been brewing secretly for over a year, simmering beneath a fake facade of professionalism. Their feud began when Booth arrogantly promised ownership he could maintain Denver's championship-level roster without spending big. He let key players like Bruce Brown, Jeff Green, and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope walk away, arrogantly insisting he could easily replace their experience with rookies and untested players. Malone was furious at Booth's arrogance, but instead of confronting the GM directly, he sabotaged Booth's plan by refusing to play the rookies Booth had drafted. Malone stubbornly leaned on exhausted veterans, ignoring the young talent. Booth retaliated by openly trashing Malone's coaching decisions behind closed doors. Insiders confirm Malone was well aware of Booth's betrayal, further poisoning their relationship until they barely spoke at all. Sources described the Nuggets front office as a toxic mess of secret betrayals, backstabbing, and personal vendettas. And at the center of this storm was Jokic, quietly enduring the chaos until he couldn't take it anymore. Jokic reportedly confided in teammates Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon that he was tired of losing games due to bad roster decisions and Malone's inflexible rotations. Murray, loyal to Malone for years, found himself torn but ultimately supported Jokic's demands for drastic change. This unprecedented power play by Jokic forced ownership's hand. Josh Kroenke, facing the real possibility of losing his MVP superstar to frustration and disillusionment, acted swiftly, firing Malone and Booth simultaneously in the most dramatic, controversial move in NBA history. This was a clear message from ownership. Nikola Jokic's prime would no longer be wasted. The Nuggets have now entrusted interim coach David Adelman and interim GM Ben Tenser with cleaning up the colossal mess left behind. Yet few inside Denver genuinely believe Adelman is the long-term solution. Secret negotiations have already begun behind closed doors for Malone's permanent replacement, and exclusively leaked information reveals the Nuggets shortlist is nothing short of blockbuster. Nuggets legend and current Blazers coach Chauncey Billups, championship mastermind Mike Budenholzer, defensive wizard Frank Vogel, and shockingly, even Mike D'Antoni, whose explosive offensive style could unlock a new era for Jokic. This list is no coincidence. Nuggets ownership, under intense pressure from Jokic, knows they must make a superstar hire. Sources exclusively confirm Jokic himself will have direct input in choosing the new coach and GM, an unprecedented step reflecting his newfound control over franchise decisions. The message is crystal clear. Denver will do whatever it takes to keep Jokic satisfied, even if it means tearing down everything and starting fresh. But the roster around Jokic itself faces imminent dismantling. Michael Porter Jr. recently warned that if the Nuggets fail to win now, the team's core, including himself, Jamal Murray, and Aaron Gordon, would likely be broken up. Insiders say ownership is already privately entertaining blockbuster trade offers for Porter Jr. and Murray if Denver disappoints in this year's playoffs. This dramatic roster overhaul aims to surround Jokic with genuine star power, a demand that he himself reportedly made behind closed doors. Why the sudden urgency? Because Jokic's frustration isn't limited to coaching and management. It also stems from systemic flaws within the Nuggets roster construction. Secret internal analytics reports, exclusively obtained, reveal devastating truths. Denver's defensive strategy collapses entirely due to Jokic's physical limitations. He's an offensive genius, but defensively, he's constantly exposed by faster guards and stronger big men. Malone's defensive schemes were failing dramatically, yet he stubbornly refused to adjust. Jokic knew this all along. Sources confirm he personally confronted Malone multiple times this season about defensive adjustments, yet Malone dismissed Jokic's input repeatedly. Malone's rigid style and unwillingness to listen pushed Jokic beyond frustration and straight into fury. Thus, Malone's stubbornness not only cost Denver games, it ultimately cost him his job. Even worse, internal frustration wasn't limited to Jokic. Jamal Murray, reportedly exhausted by Malone's harsh coaching style, had quietly begun to distance himself emotionally from the coach who had helped develop his career. Behind closed doors, multiple players, including Aaron Gordon, privately questioned Malone's treatment of teammates, describing it as borderline disrespectful. Malone's locker room had become toxic, alienating key players at precisely the moment Denver needed unity most. Now, the Nuggets face a reckoning unlike any other team in NBA history. Denver has entered crisis mode, yet bizarrely, the players are secretly relieved. Sources inside the locker room confirm that players privately celebrated the departure of Malone and Booth, feeling liberated and hopeful for the first time in months. But relief alone won't win championships. Interim coach Adelman's task is nearly impossible. Restore team morale, fix defensive schemes, integrate rookies, heal locker room wounds, and somehow compete in the playoffs, all in mere days. But secretly, Adelman knows he's just a placeholder. The real revolution will happen this offseason, as Denver prepares to fully rebuild around Jokic's vision. Big-name coaches are already circling the Nuggets' job, understanding that coaching a prime Nikola Jokic is a once-in-a-generation opportunity. Nikola Jokic's bold, unprecedented confrontation with ownership has set off a chain reaction that will reshape the NBA landscape. He has taken control, leveraging his superstar status in a way that rivals even LeBron James in his prime. The usually quiet Joker is now calling the shots, determined never again to be wasted or overlooked. This story is far from over. Exclusive inside sources promise more bombshells in the coming days, as Denver prepares for a new era built entirely around Jokic's demands. The Nuggets' explosive, history-making moves have permanently altered the NBA landscape, and you heard it here first. Now everyone in basketball is asking the same question. Will this unprecedented gamble rescue the Nuggets? Or has Jokic's secret power play set the stage for an even more spectacular collapse? Either way, one thing is certain. The Denver Nuggets and Nikola Jokic will never be the same again.
One click, big impact. Hit that subscribe button and join the squad. Your support keeps us going.